reprints, restocks, out of print, short print. A lot of confusing terminology nowadays when it comes to Pokemon. A lot of misconceptions, misunderstanding when it comes to what these terms all mean. Used to be, back before the Logan Paul craze, back before this influx of collectors and influx of returning or new Pokemon enthusiasts kind of hit the market, you could order stuff from your distributor. Your distributor would order items from Pokemon directly from the warehouse that Pokemon owns, and they would ship product out. So a distributor could call up Pokemon or email Pokemon and tell their rep, hey, we want to order 300 cases of Evolutions and 200 cases of Burning Shadows, so that way we can stock our warehouse. And Pokemon, when they would start getting low stock on an item, like let's say they had 1,000 cases of Evolutions left, they would then communicate that to distribution and say, hey, just so you know, all of you distributors, we have 1,000 cases of Evolutions left. We do not have any immediate plans to reprint this object, this product. So please let your customers know that if they want to order this product and get wholesale pricing or close to wholesale pricing, now would be the time to do so, because we don't believe we're going to print any more of it. And then distributors would communicate that to their customers, and the customers would determine whether or not they wanted to add that inventory, add that to their palette of products. That all changed. That all kind of went away when the new allocation system hit, when the new wave printing hit, because demand skyrocketed so much that there was nowhere near enough supply to kind of meet that demand. So when we start talking about out of print or short printed items right now, really it just depends on how much Pokemon produces, and they produce X amount. All of it is distributed immediately to distribution channels. And those distribution channels then immediately allocate certain amounts of product to each LGS, to each storefront. And then that storefront or LGS determines, okay, I want to take all of that allocation, or I want to take part of it, or I want to take none of it. And then what's left over kind of sits at the distribution center. And Pokemon themselves, as far as a warehouse goes, I would imagine, and I could be wrong, is relatively empty because they produced everything that they said they were going to produce. They took reservations from distributors and they gave them everything. They gave everything out right away. So there is nothing necessarily now that's in print or out of print. It really just kind of falls into a reprint scenario where Pokemon determines, okay, we can tell based off of market pricing that this product right here that's only a year old or only 10 months old is kind of getting to a point where it needs to be reprinted. There is not enough supply out in the marketplace to meet demand at a cost-effective measure. So we need to produce more of that. Now, items like Battle Styles, Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, which are still selling for significantly less than MSRP, indicates that there is enough supply, and more than enough supply to kind of meet demand. But then you run into a set that is a main series set that needs to have some sort of availability for competitive play, like Evolving Skies, which came out in August of 2021 and is currently at a point right now where it's hovering right around MSRP, selling for about $140, $145, somewhere in that area on TCG Player. You might be able to find it a little bit cheaper if you look hard enough on eBay or some storefronts, but you can't order it from distributors because distributors are sold out. I talked to distributors this morning. I follow up with them pretty much every week at least once. There is no immediate plans to reprint, add an additional print run of Evolving Skies. Now, anybody who's been involved in the game, in the hobby for a while, would automatically assume, hey, eventually there will be a reprint of Evolving Skies because there has to be enough to hit the marketplace. As long as this item is kind of in circulation, it's still in standard format, there needs to be some availability for it so it can be played competitively, right? Pokemon is all these different sectors, including competitive play, so these cards need to at least be somewhat available for people to order. But as of right now, we're going to talk about Evolving Skies today because prices have kind of skyrocketed, not just when it comes to the booster box itself, but also the single market, especially those alternate arts. A lot of cards have really rose in price, and we focused a lot over the last couple of weeks on Brilliant Stars and kind of stepped away from the current market, from the current standard market. But really over that time when we were focused on Brilliant Stars and so much attention was given to Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies just kept climbing and climbing. There was a time right after Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving, where Evolving Skies hit below $100 per booster box when we had that massive influx of product, that influx of reprints of all those standard sets. And Evolving Skies has done nothing but slowly rise and rise and rise, and then all of a sudden, it kind of took off. So we're going to look at that in just a second here. Before we begin, I do want to remind everybody we are giving away 10 booster packs of Brilliant Stars every day for 23 days. So I think we're on like day 6. I am pinning a new comment every day on a specific video. And if your comment gets pinned, you're a winner. So we're just using a random YouTube comment picker, picking a new comment every day, pinning that comment, gathering contact information, sending out 10 booster packs of Brilliant Stars. If you want to be entered to win 10 booster packs, all you have to do is go back to the video that I posted last week Sunday going over Brilliant Stars rumors, celebrations rumors. Leave a comment, leave a like, and then most importantly, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like I said, a new comment is being picked every day for 23 days, and the winner is getting 10 booster packs of Brilliant Stars. All right, we're going to jump into things. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think as far as the reprint process goes of Evolving Skies. If you think it's done, if you think it's going to get reprinted, my gut tells me that booster boxes will get reprinted. I don't know if any of those other ancillary products like Elite Trainer boxes or 3-pack blisters will get reprinted for LGSs to order, but I do think there's going to be additional runs of sleeve boosters, 3-pack blisters, some of those ancillary products for those marketing companies, some of those like Excel and MJ that stock those big box stores like Best Buys and Targets and Walmarts and those places where the average consumer just kind of goes to shop and finds those impulse items, you know, on a shelf pog, on a pog where they're just like, hey, I want to buy some Pokemon cards. Oh, cool, they have Evolving Skies. And right now, it's very, very hard for anybody to find Evolving Skies in stores, and that's kind of why prices are starting to really climb online. So we're going to look at some of these prices right here. We're going to start off with booster boxes, which has actually taken a few dollars of a hit ever since Brilliant Stars came out. But you can tell at one point it was down to $109.08. Now, this is market pricing on TCG Player. This was back in November, beginning of December, and at that time, you could actually find them on eBay for $90, $95 if you looked hard enough because we had this giant influx of products. Ever since then, it has slowly risen, and you can see there are some spikes that are much greater than others. And if you look at quantity available supply on some of these TCG Player shops, a lot of these storefronts are running very, very low on quantities, which means to me that this product right here, this Evolving Skies booster box, is due for another shoot up of price, another price where it's going to go up to maybe 160, 170, somewhere around what Vivid Voltage did after its like second print wave, where people were like, I don't know if it's going to get printed again, I don't know what's going to happen, and people were willing to pay that $170, $180 price tag on Vivid Voltage. Evolving Skies booster boxes hit a high point of $147.12. Right now it's resting comfortably just below MSRP at $141.51, but the singles are what really continue to drive that booster box price up, because a lot of people kind of compare Pokemon cards to gambling, and you have to let me know what you think in the comment section down below as well. When the opportunity is for people to pull cards that are significantly higher than the booster box. So this first card right here, this Umbreon VMAX that has done nothing but climb in price over the past few months, when you can pull that card from a booster box and your average secret rare alternate art is 1 per case. That's the pull rate. It's roughly 1 per case. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be an Umbreon VMAX. It can be any of these. But when that one card that you can pull from a case on average is selling for $253, then a lot of people are like, well, maybe I can pull this card, sell this card, then I can buy another booster box, and I actually have like $100 left over that I can kind of just pocket. That's really where that gambling mentality comes into things. But if we look at the Umbreon VMAX, this was actually the second most expensive card in the set when the set originally came out. Rayquaza VMAX was the number 1, but Umbreon has done nothing but climb. Like I said, it hit a low point in the middle of December when kind of we had that giant influx of booster boxes, this influx of product, and that was the third print run of Evolving Skies that really nobody expected, because we had the second wave at the end of November, and then all of a sudden Pokemon was like, hey, here's some more Evolving Skies booster boxes, an unannounced print run, here you go, do what you want with it, distributors. And they kind of distributed those amongst LGSs. It hit 253.85 last week, and it's still climbing, so it's still going up from there, 253.85, so it's a significant increase of 43% just over the past few months. Now, those are returns you can't find anywhere else. Now, I do think it's going to climb a little bit more, but once we hit that reprint, this is really that guessing game here. Once you hit that reprint, you would expect it to go down a little bit. We'll see what happens. The next card we're looking at is Rayquaza VMAX. It had a low point of 150.93, kind of the same time, right around November, December. Now it's climbed all the way up to 211.07. It's leveled off a little bit, kind of lowered down to 206.29 right now currently, but a week ago or so, it hit 211.07, and it's kind of rising from there. So next up, we have Leafeon VMAX, so the alternate art Leafeon, and the great thing about Evolving Skies, it has so many great alternate arts. We're kind of looking at all of them because those are the most expensive cards in the set. As great as Brilliant Stars is, a lot of chase cards in Evolving Skies have a lot of people that are more focused on Evolving Skies still filling out that master set because from a desirability standpoint, they think it is the better set than Brilliant Stars, and I can't blame them for thinking that. Leafeon VMAX was down to 74.32 kind of at the same time. You can see by the curve here, it kind of leveled off really well until we hit February, and since then for a lot of these cards at the beginning of February, right when booster boxes kind of hit that $130 mark, things have really taken off. So now it's sitting at 113.50, which is its high for 3 months. Same thing with Glaceon VMAX. It's at its 3-month high right now. 104.01 is its current market price. It was all the way down to 78.89 and hit its low point a little bit later, kind of the middle of January, but it's done nothing but climb since then. Same thing with Sylveon VMAX, another 3-month high sitting at 102.54. And its low point was 86.59, which it hit at the end of December. If we look at the Umbreon V, it's a little bit different now with some of these alternate arts that are not of the secret rare mentality. If we scroll up here, you're getting about 2 based off of pull rate data. You're getting about 2 alternate arts per box when it comes to those regular rarities, those regular, not secret rare numbers. The high point for this Umbreon V, $86.93, which actually hit back at the beginning of December, then kind of went down in the middle of January, and now it's starting to climb back up a little bit. So if we don't see a reprint soon, I think some of these alternate arts that are of the normal rarity, not the secret rare variety, are going to start climbing in the same path that what we saw of those secret rare ones, where this one shrunk all the way down, and now it's kind of leveling out a little bit and going up, where it's at 85.51, so it's only about $1 off of its 3-month high. If we look at the Rayquaza V, kind of the same thing, really dipped down at the middle of January. It hit 75.69. It was at 86.83 back in December. Now it's hovered right in the middle, so right at $80.63, but you can see it is trending in the upward direction. If we look at Dragonite V, really cool looking card, definitely one of the favorites in the set. Current market price is sitting at $71.11, kind of trending in an upwards direction as well, although it did hit its 3-month low last month in the middle of February. It was down to 65.56, so now it's trending up a little bit more. If we see another reprint, obviously that's going to drag it back down a bit, like what it did at the beginning of January, end of December, where it kind of hit about $82 or $67, but right now sitting at $71.11, so kind of in between its 3-month high and low. Glaceon V is at a 3-month high right now as well. Same thing with Leafeon V, and Sylveon V is very close to its 3-month high. For Glaceon V, it was down all the way to $50.96, but right now it is sitting at $62.67, so it's gone up about $12. Leafeon V, its low point was $49.45, so just about $50. Right now it's sitting at $62.22, which is its 3-month high. Very, very interesting. Same thing with Sylveon V. It was down to $48.14, but now it is at $61.46. It hit its high a couple of weeks ago, so it hit 64.04 a couple of weeks ago, and now it's dropped back down a little bit to 61.46, but again, still kind of trending in the upward direction. I wouldn't consider this going downward yet until we have a little bit more data for a little bit more consistent of a time. If we look at the Espeon V alternate art, its 3-month low was 52.24, 3-month high is 58.06. For the most part, this card's been very consistent. You can tell just by only a $6 differential between its high and low. Right now, it's hovering right in between there, 55.78. The Rayquaza VMAX was interesting to me because it's a rainbow rare and not an alternate art. If we look at that, 46.73 is its high point, but that's where it's at right now. Its 3-month low is 35.76, so about $11 less than that, which it hit back in the middle of December. So now it's done nothing but kind of gain. Same thing with the Umbreon VMAX. Same look, 35.69 is its 3-month high, but at one point it was down to 27.65, so it's done nothing but gain since then. I have a few more that I wanted to look at. Duraludon VMAX is one that I really wanted to point out because it has gone through some exponential growth. We'll call it exponential growth. Part of that is really kind of introducing what we need to pay attention to over the next few months, and that is the competitive scene returning and having an impact on the market. So Brilliant Stars came out, Arceus V came out. A lot of people were super excited about Arceus V. Turns out it's a very, very good card. We'll probably see it next week quite a bit in Utah as the first regional happens in North America, but we will see it paired up with Duraludon VMAX, which a lot of people are very excited about that build. So because of that, Duraludon VMAX, more demand when it comes to the competitive field starts shrinking that supply across the board. So we have the alternate art Duraludon VMAX, which has seen a little bit of an increase. Now, the great thing about competitive play is, for the most part, it's going to affect a lot of the lower rarity items because people are just using them to play in decks, more so than it's going to impact those higher rarity, those upper rarity items. So if we look at the alternate art, really not that big of a difference between its high and low. For the most part, it stayed relatively flat, but it is starting to trend upwards, very, very close to its 3-month high. If we look at Gyarados VMAX, I just have this one in here because it was interesting to me how much this has gone up in price for a rainbow rare. It was at $16.86 for a low. Now it's sitting at $25.41 for a high for 3 months, which I thought was very interesting. And then the regular Duraludon VMAX went from $3.84, which is where it was at the beginning of December, and right now it's at a 3-month high sitting at $13.24. And that's what happens when those competitive things really start impacting the market. And we'll pay more attention to that as more tournaments unfold, but it wasn't uncommon during competitive play for commons and uncommons to shoot up from $1 to $11 basically over the weekend, or a surprise deck that kind of came in and shook up the meta to really start impacting things from a playability standpoint, and then from a market standpoint, where you saw a lot of staples. A staple is basically a card that you have to have, 3 or 4 of in your deck, that every deck basically requires. Once more competitive players see this deck requires 4 of these, those prices really start going up in price because supply goes down as demand goes up, basics of economics. So hope you guys enjoy the information. Let me know down below what you think about Evolving Skies. I would assume that we'll get a reprint. That's me kind of going on record saying I think this is going to happen at some point this year. I just don't know when. We have a lot of releases coming out over the next couple months before Astral Radiance comes out. Astral Radiance looks super, super cool. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw an Evolving Skies reprint kind of around that time, because we are getting Pokemon Go cards in June. That's our special set. So a lot of times they like to throw those reprints in with a bunch of other sets, because then that kind of helps saturate the market a little bit more. But I'm curious to see what you guys think down below. So let me know. Don't forget to comment and leave a like, because it goes a long way for the algorithm. Share the video. We are climbing to 100,000 subscribers as fast as we can, as quickly as we can. And the more we grow, the more we're going to give away. So please hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I will talk to you soon. Peace.